Revolutionizing the economy through precision. From greenhouse droplets to financial public roads. If we look at the world map, we find a staggering anomaly: the Netherlands. A country 12 times smaller than Thailand and smaller than the U.S. state of West Virginia, yet it stands proudly as the world's second-largest agricultural exporter. Data from Wageningen University and Statistics Netherlands confirm that in 2022, they generated a massive €122 billion from agricultural exports. The secret to this success is not vast, fertile plains, but a transition from traditional farming to precision agriculture, an obsession with maximizing yields by deploying resources at the right spot, at the right time, with measurable results. In a modern Dutch greenhouse, plants are not watered at random or blanketed in fertilizer. Instead, each plant receives nutrients and water drop by drop through precise sensor systems that calculate exactly what the plant requires at that specific second. The result? They've slashed water usage by 90% while multiplying yields exponentially. This drop-by-drop precision is the key to reforming global economic policy in 2026 through a system known as precision economic activation. Academically, this is a closed-loop economic policy framework that utilizes public event data to adjust real-time responses through automated mechanisms and localized conditionality. Economic cell. This precision is channeled directly into the economic cell, the smallest economic unit actually affected, whether it be a shop in a tourist zone, an SME in a critical supply chain, or most importantly, the household cash flow cell. This refers to daily wage earners, freelancers, and the hand-to-mouth workforce who are most vulnerable. By using right data to steer policy, we solve the primary failure of modern economics. The state helps, but it helps at the wrong time and in the wrong place. In a high-volatility world, a policy lag of just a few weeks can mean the death of a small business and the collapse of a family. Historically, governments have managed economies like broadcast seeding, a concept known in economics as helicopter money. Coined by Nobel laureate Milton Friedman in 1969, it symbolizes injecting liquidity into the system as rapidly as dropping cash from a helicopter. It functions by printing money and distributing it unconditionally to the masses, hoping the ripple effect will lift the entire nation. The painful reality, however, is that this money often evaporates into the system or clusters where it isn't needed. A 2020 NBER study revealed that blanket stimulus in the U.S. was spent at a rate of only 40%. The remaining 60% went into savings or debt repayment, failing to stimulate immediate circulation in the pockets of ordinary citizens. The critical distinction is that precision economic activation is not just another targeted stimulus. It is a paradigm shift from an on-off policy switch to a financial public road, an intelligent infrastructure operating under the event, node, relief framework, reaching operational depths without violating privacy, while maintaining maximum transparency. 1. Event, public signals, and open statistical APIs. The system does not rely on individual behavioral surveillance. Instead, it is triggered by aggregate public statistics that the state naturally possesses. These statistics do not mean the state knows more about private lives. They mean the state uses what it already knows faster by opening APIs for localized data such as aggregated VAT invoice totals by district, hotel occupancy reporting, central market prices for agricultural goods, anonymized telecom mobility indices when these figures drop below critical thresholds, e.g., tourism revenue falling greater than 20% for 2 consecutive weeks. A data-driven trigger automatically activates an emergency valve. This prevents political interference where events are declared at the whim of incumbents. 2. Node, public access points that respect freedom. When an event occurs, the system does not immediately spray money. Instead, it activates financial bus stops through existing infrastructure, such as state banks or social security offices. These serve as activation nodes where citizens and daily earners can opt in through self-attestation. Using minimal proof solely to verify identity and residency, the state expands reach through community networks like village health volunteers, municipalities, and labor unions. This ensures the most vulnerable, even those without smartphones or those outside the formal system, are not left behind. Crucially, the system is designed to prevent moral hazard by functioning as a temporary bridge during negative shocks, not a permanent entitlement or a replacement for work incentives. 3. Relief. Capped instruments with fraud prevention. Assistance is strictly governed by a fiscal cap, e.g., not exceeding 15% of the monthly minimum wage for no more than 8 weeks per event. Delivered as tokenized vouchers, it limits spending to essential categories, MCC. The system uses blind redemption, where the state sees only the total reimbursement requested by a merchant, but never the individual's consumption profile. To prevent voucher inflation, a price guardrail is enforced, referencing median price caps. Participating shops must display clear pricing, backed by penalty-credible measures. If fraud is detected, funds must be returned, and the offender is blacklisted from all systems for 2 years. Imagine the Cathode district in Phuket facing a sudden road closure. While the rest of the province remains stable, the financial bus stop in Kathu would activate relief based on public statistical thresholds. Daily earners and freelancers could walk in and access essential vouchers within 24 hours. The state acts merely as an infrastructure that respects individual liberty. Imagine a farmer in the central region facing days of heavy flooding. Crops are destroyed, roads are cut off, and income vanishes instantly. Under the old system, the state would wait for meetings, budget approvals, and bureaucratic processes that take months. But with precision economic activation, a flood is an event based on public facts. Once a disaster zone is declared, satellite data and water level sensors provide immediate confirmation, triggering the emergency valve automatically. Financial bus stops in the area such as state agricultural banks, evacuation centers, or cooperatives act as nodes, where farmers provide minimal identity verification to prove they are in the flood zone, allowing them to opt in for aid within 24 to 48 hours. This assistance isn't free-flowing cash, but a survival voucher restricted to essentials like food, new seeds, medicine, or animal feed. Capped at a few thousand baht and lasting no more than 6 to 8 weeks, it serves as a bridge through the crisis without spying on individual transactions. On the other hand, imagine workers in an industrial estate where factories suddenly shut down due to export bans or supply chain shocks. Daily wages disappear instantly, yet the state doesn't need to see everyone's payroll. The system uses aggregate statistical events, such as a sudden drop in regional employment indices or massive notifications of production halts. Once the trigger hits the threshold, the valve opens. Nodes like Social Security offices, state banks, or local labor centers open for workers to voluntarily verify their rights. Relief is then delivered as vouchers for travel, food, or short-term minimum income support to ensure families maintain cash flow while seeking new jobs. The state only sees the total aid distributed at the regional level, not what individuals buy or how they live. This is precision assistance targeting only where the shock actually hits, instead of the old way of scattering money across the entire province. This public road system exists not just at the community level, but through main pipelines at the institutional level. If liquidity freezes in the repo market, the state utilizes the Standing Repo Facility, SRF, to inject liquidity exactly where the public pipe is clogged, preventing financial market stress from spilling over into the interest rates paid by ordinary citizens. To make this institutionally viable, an economic activation authority is required, a semi-autonomous body similar to a central bank. Its core mandate is to lock democracy into the system by having Parliament define the trigger formula in advance. The authority's sole duty is to execute, open, or close the valve, based on objective statistics, stripped of the power to define a crisis by its own discretion. Guardrails, the policy's security framework. No surveillance. Uses localized aggregate stats, not individual transactions. Public statistical formula. Triggers are activated by parliamentary-approved formulas, not political orders. Capped volume and time. Operates as a temporary bridge during shocks to maintain fiscal stability. Audit and penalties. Employs random audits and a 2-year disqualification penalty for fraud. Price guardrails. references median prices to prevent localized price gouging by merchants. In a world of dwindling resources and relentless volatility, there is no longer room for the trial and error of scattergun policies. Precision economic activation is a shift from guesswork to a public system that is precise, transparent, and humane. It ensures that every cent of taxpayer money serves as a genuine sanctuary when crisis strikes, truly leaving no one behind. Modern economies do not need a sledgehammer that strikes the whole system. They need an intelligent public road, with bus stops that people can rely on when the storm hits. A nation that can water a plant drop by drop to feed the world should be able to heal human lives point by point just the same.